Welcome to MPA Feedback Stream 20. I am the guild leader, and today with us we have Blayhub and Retrograde,
Hello.
and Radium should be joining us. Hello, hello. So this is our 20th consecutive feedback stream we've done here on Fridays. It's a little bit of a milestone. Nothing special planned for it, but we just want to acknowledge that, it's pretty neat to see the quality, how far we've come. And it's just Blayhub streams the feedback streams on Friday, and that's why you can tell it looks definitely a lot different than our Monday streams. But I just want to acknowledge how good of a job you do, Blay, on feedback streams, and we definitely plan on continuing them. So those that come here each week, you've been with us part of the journey, and just to let y'all know, we plan on promoting them and growing this and turning it into something pretty fun, more popular. So we do this every Friday, same time, 7 p.m. UTC. So if you want to get your track on next week, so just look for the featured post in the Music Production Amino community. You can look through the Amino, look through the Discord. There'll be a post with a submission link form. You fill out the form, you submit your track, you can add a little note, and we'll add it to the queue and tune in back next Friday to see if you get on. And we usually have a panel of judges. We do in-depth feedback, and then we spark conversations. So it's like part feedback, part, just talking music production, just giving broader advice to everybody, So this is a lot of fun. Usually takes us about 2 hours to do. So other notes, just real quick, other news. The Halloween MPA Spooky collab, the master pack has been posted. So you go back to the same post. It's featured in the community. It's called MPA Spooky Collab. Very top of the post, there's a link to the master pack. There's a lot of really fun spooky samples in there. You can still add samples if you want. So send me the samples. I'll update the pack as I get them. So if you're already producing your track, check back in the pack often to see if there's any new samples added. If you're looking for some more ideas or inspiration or something. All right, if your sample did not end up in the pack, it might have been some of the people that I had request access. Let me go back through and see who that was, but check your email. You'll see something that says wherever you sent them to. Music Production Amino is requesting access to this file. Then you just grant the access. Then I'll be able to download it, or just go and make it public. Or I don't know, give me a share link that I can actually download. So send it back to me. All right, cool. So then we have till the 31st to finish a track. Submit it to the community with hashtag spooky collab, and we'll listen to them all on that Saturday, the 31st. This is not a competition, but we will, talk about them and see which ones we like the best and stuff. So cool. With that, let's just get into this.
Why are people trying to protect their files on Google Drive if they're going to be public in a publicly accessible sampled share pack? That's just silly.
No, I think it's an oversight, like not realizing they didn't make it public. You just hit the share link, but if you don't hit it like share public or what, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure.
That makes sense.
You have to work with the permissions. The default just makes it a viewer, and then you can't download it. So
they changed that.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
Cool. So yeah, just make sure that's activated as like I'm able to download it, or just allow access. Just check your email and allow the access, and I'll get that added to the pack. Cool. I submitted a few samples in there. They're more like atmospheric, whatever. But I'll probably add a few more. But I'm definitely going to be doing a track. I've been listening to them. They got me really motivated. There's some really fun ones in there. If you haven't already, go check that out. All right, cool. So Blayhub, how many tracks did we get submitted today?
We got 6 submissions today, so pretty decent.
Nice.
A couple of longer ones, not too long. So yeah, I think there's some interesting ones in there. I think we're gonna have a bit to talk about. Yeah. All right, so should we start with the stuff?
I say let's go for it. I'm ready.
All right.
Don't have any more news or anything to share. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's get this going.
All right. Okay, our first submission for today is going to be Sanctuary by SuperZrussell. Have fun. All right, that was Sanctuary by SuperZrussell. I almost mispronounced your name again, like I used to. SuperZrussell. Okay, so that was Sanctuary by SuperZrussell. Saying that twice now because I'm messing things up today apparently. Okay, so what did you guys think?
I'll go first. This is the guild leader here. I really like this track. This is a you know what is this, like a future-based style track with the like some vocal chops going on. What I like about the vocal chops, even though those are kind of, I want to say overplay because I mean it's just still trending, but everyone uses vocal chops. I love vocal chops. But what I love about what you're, even though it was real simple, it matched the wobble SuperZrussell synth space. It matched in a way that it made sense. It belonged with this song. It wasn't just random vocal chops in another song. It was vocal chops for this song. It matched. Everything was in the same rhythm. Really easy to listen. It's definitely a copy paste kind of thing going on. It seemed like, or as what a lot of the judges have been referring to it as lately, where it just seems like, the second part was the same as the first. And so I would like it to have been a little bit more experimental, a little bit more like, I mean, once I heard it, and I have heard this one a couple times, but once I heard it, I I could be confusing it was a different track, but I believe I've been listening to a lot of your stuff lately, SuperZrussell, during the A&R streams we've been doing, and I'm a big fan of yours. I love your music. I was talking recently about how I noticed like how good you're getting and how rapid your progress is coming along. It's a really good job. But what I was saying about this track, it was just really cliche, I guess. I used the word precise, but I don't think that's the right word. Or it was just like to the point, really predictable and kind of cookie cutter track. But still really nice. I think it would end up on some playlist, I don't know, what do you think, Retro or Playhub?
Yeah, do you want to go first?
There we go. Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah,
okay.
Sure. So I liked the vocal chops. They're really good. I think if you're gonna have them be kind of the centerpiece, especially during the intro and a lot of the other sections, you should during those like kind of 8 bars that repeats the second half, throw in more different notes, more high notes, and then also like mess with the formants a little bit just to give, a little evolution to it. And then also, because it's the same thing repeating twice, have it kind of resolve at the end would be really nice. But a lot of times vocal chops they just repeat, especially in a feature bass track. That's just a common thing to do. Okay. I've said this, I feel like, on every track that I reviewed in the last couple times, but the snare clap needs more attack. I think it just comes down to a really quick layer that
You're
a
talking
lot
about
of
the
people
transient mainly, right? The
Yeah,
transient of this,
the
or the
transient is
top
not too
part of
bad.
it.
Yeah, it just you
Okay,
need.
maybe I'm using the wrong word. So yeah, the actual attack would be like the clickiness, or
Yes.
what? Okay. Right.
In general, yeah, but it just could use an extra layer, or you could use a transient shaper on it and just
I see.
crank up the attack like crazy. I wouldn't do that, but it just needs to have a little bit more to punch through the mix. Especially with feature bass has like very reverb snares and everything. So
And they're usually layered snares, right? It's usually like a
they are,
donk
yeah.
snare with a little like a clink and a clank all like
Yeah.
layered up on top of each other, and make
which
more
helps
sense. Yeah.
punch through. And then the last thing that I really noticed was the background was super empty in a lot of sections. So just some more elements in the background would really help fill it out. And a much stronger mid bass would also be, during the drop at least, would be, would really help fill it out too. But other than that,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good track for sure. It was well done. I guess we're not giving ratings, right? This isn't a battle.
No.
You
This
can,
is
you
this
can
is
if you want,
feedback.
but no, it's not. I sometimes do to help explain like how much I liked it, but no, it's not required. What'd you think, Blay?
I think you guys are right about the technical aspects of this track. Though I wonder if I mean, being good in terms of like a technical level is nice. I mean, there are some minor things you could improve, as we heard. One thing I wasn't mentioned that these guys couldn't know because I fixed it for you, SuperZrussell, is your mastering. It's too loud.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, it's everyone. It's everyone though. So like it's literally everyone who's submitting. There is something wrong with the master. It's either too loud, or there's some
I'm
weird
gonna
stuff
submit my
going
track
on.
next week, and I want you to tell me in relation to everyone else's like where I stand, because
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty confident in my mixes and masters not going over a lot of that stuff, but I haven't ever actually checked. Hey, Hydro Boy, just like popping. So yeah, I'm curious to like where mine stand, where the other ones will stand, and then where some professional and commercial ones. Because I mean, I know the loudness war. Like some people like to think that it was one, but I think there was just a big compromise.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I wanna talk about so SuperZrussell said they keep it in between the second top bar of volume. Yeah, that's not a measurement. I don't know what you're talking about. There's two issues with that. First of all, you need to know what value your ceiling is at, and you need to make sure that it's a true peak value. So your meter, your peak meter inside your DAW is probably not going to be a true peak meter. So or let's say you wanna get two kinds of meters that show you two readings. You wanna get a LUFS, so LUFS. Wait, yeah, no, I was okay. I'm being a bit slow today, but so a LUFS meter and something that gives you a true peak reading, because that's really important.
Ulean makes the free one,
Because
right? Do you know any free ones? There's like one called like Ulean.
Ulean loudness meter. It's a free one. They show you everything. They show you the RMS. They show you LUFS. They show you the true peak. You can set it to different mastering standards. I think it's the free version is locked to EBU R128, which is really the only one you're gonna need basically. Um, it's really important because especially for you guys, you are music producers. So this is not only you're not only being artists and free and whatever, but you're working with a very technical thing. You're music producers, so you're responsible for both the creative and the technical execution. So you need to know this kind of stuff. I mean, you can obviously collaborate with someone who's doing mastering. That's usually how it's done when you're, a bit more advanced in the industry, if you want to call it like that, which, of course. But even then, you need to know what you're doing, and you can't give a completely technically unusable track to someone who's going to master this, because you need to leave a lot of headroom. So what I see with most people doing is they just slap a compressor and a limiter on their master track or something like that, and just try to push it to the max, to the ceiling in the DAW, to 0 dB in the DAW. And that's just, that's really dangerous, because first of all, it's gonna ruin, maybe I should explain why it's gonna ruin your sound, and why it's so important that platforms that you're uploading it to are going to then mess with your exported file and put on their own limiters and their own compressors. The reason is that there's a technical, I'm not going to get too far into this because this could end up in like an hour-long rant about this, so I'm not going to do that. But basically, you're dealing with digital audio that is being converted into analog audio, so it can be played back on headphones and on loudspeakers and stuff like that. And there's basically, because of a couple of reasons and technical things going on there, there's basically let's just say it's getting louder. It's not really that's not really what's happening, but let's just just so you understand that it's just to make it simpler to understand. Let's just say it's getting louder when you convert it. So if your thing is on 0 dB in the DAW, it's going to be over 0 dB when it's played back on a loudspeaker. It's always going to be played back on a loudspeaker because you're not a computer. You can't hear digital audio. It needs to be converted. And then it's going to clip. It's going to distort. It's going to suck. So it needs to be right. That's why I need a true peak meter, and that's why I need a Lufs meter. So fix it. I didn't want to talk so long about this, but download YillLillio and loudness meter, any other meter that gives a true peak and a Lufs readout, whatever. There's many options. Go with YillLillio, and it's really good. It's easy to understand. You really can't go wrong with it. And the Pro version, which gives you more options, which are all pretty useful, costs only like $50 or something. So it's.
I think one of them is it YillLillio that actually tell you what the separate. Some of them will tell you exactly what the separate services.
There are some that do that. I don't know which ones.
I think there's a web one. So just Google it and type it in. There's some things you can drop it in, and it'll give you a rough idea of like, okay, Apple Music's going to turn down this much, Spotify's going to turn down this much, and it just lets you know, like, what is it? Just another way to analyze it. Do all the analytics, really dig down, like, what is my tracks?
Yeah.
Why is it doing this?
Yeah. It's really important, but I wanted to talk about I didn't want to talk about the technical things for so long, because I always do. I just wanted to say that while on a technical level, except that technical level, the track is fine. I felt that it definitely was way too repetitive for my liking, which, you could say, but look at Billie Eilish or whatever. I think I just offended everyone. I don't care. It's really repetitive.
Retrograde just logs out. He's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. It's really repetitive. I know it's super common in this genre and in many genres nowadays, and you don't have to care. It's just something I always want to point out and mention and say, you could make it way more interesting. So I just want to throw it out there. It is repetitive. I think it would be more interesting to many people if you did more with it in terms of variety, in terms of melody, in terms of harmony. Like I always say, It's not common, it's not the norm, but it's gonna stand out, and it's gonna get more attention. And I don't know, it's so easy to make something more interesting than what you hear in the top 10 lists of pop music, or whatever, or electronic music. It's so easy to do something more interesting than that. I don't know when no one bothers to do it. Is it so hard? It doesn't seem like it is to me. But apparently it is, or apparently they don't care. I don't know. I think it would be really easy to become a sort of to be a game changer, to change the genre. It's so easy in my opinion. Anyway, I don't know why people don't do it.
It's gonna happen. It always happens. Just slowly over time. Very cool. So I would say, all in all, it was a really nice track. I mean, I think we all kind of hit on that it was a little repetitive and it could have been a little bit more risky, but very good job. I mean, if y'all out there haven't heard other stuff from SuperZrussell, go check out his SoundCloud page. There's a lot of really good stuff on there.
You can see it on the player card on stream.
Yeah. Cool.
There's a link there.
Nice. All right. So shall we move on? Or?
Yes, let's move on. Our next track is going to be Graveyard Party. That's on topic. That's nice. By YillLillio. Have fun. Graveyard Party. All right, that was a Graveyard Party by YillLillio. All right, what did you guys think?
All right. Well, everyone, Radium has joined us. Just to let y'all know.
Yes, oh,
He's
hi,
now with us.
Radium.
We are 4. We are now 4. Um, so this was a simple track. We were literally just talking to spark the conversation with the judges. Like, okay, how's it? It sounds like something a lot of us would have made earlier in our stages of making music. So then, I brought the question up, like, well, how do we know how long people have been making music, and how can we judge it, fairly if this person is just getting started? So, I mean, in all fairness, I don't know how long you've been producing music, YillLillio. This is real simple. It's, I mean, if for something that,
YillLillio, I think.
oh, I'm so bad with names. If you've been producing for a year or two or whatever, this is still nice. This is a simple track. It could be used for a lot of things. But it does sound like a lot of stuff that if I was to go listen to my earliest stuff or a lot of people's earliest stuff, it's just like, humanizing your tracks is, when it comes to electronic music and giving things texture, is one of the biggest challenges. You're talking about, I mean, music traditionally is just, the instruments are beautiful sounding instruments and humans play them. So all this stuff goes into what makes an enjoyable sounding song. When it comes to electronic music, I love electronic music, but through and through, it's my favorite style of music. But the trick with electronic music is it's the sound design, it's the humanizing of it, all the things you need to do to an electronic, like a sine wave and some 808s and 909s, this essentially electronic bleeps and bloops. You have to do so much to them to really make it like, it takes it to a track that you'd be like, oh yeah, I'd hear this on the radio, or that's really nice. I appreciate. So that comes from years of experience, is what I find. So again, without knowing how long you've been producing, it's hard to really just be like, oh well, you should be better at your level. I don't know, but I'll tell you something. It's just so simple. It sounds like an early. That's what my feedback is. It's really simple. It's nice as a simple song, but it seems like a beginner stage song. I would agree with that. It was brought up during the private chat, but yeah. So, but I like the melody. It was a neat little melody. It's just really simple. And again, I would look for more complex sounds and textures. Doesn't mean distortion. It could be bright, happy sounds, but you want to generate ear-pleasing sounds, much like a violin and a piano and a guitar are just very pleasing to listen to. There's a reason why. They're not just any random instrument. They're designed over years and years and years and years to sound very beautiful. So when you're designing synth sounds, you've got to come up with something that's just like, oh, that's a really, really nice sound. I want to listen to a whole song. So I'd say sound design, and then also just expand your ideas. Just keep going with some ideas, new and fresh ideas. Think outside the box always. But I would definitely say this was a unique track for sure. Simple, unique. I'll pass it over to Retrograde. What do you think?
I definitely it was definitely a fun track, and I think Guild kind of definitely hit the right points. I would say sound design is the number one thing that took me out of it, is because everything just sounded super basic and like a lot of just like plasticky sounds and stuff like that, which is it happens. So there's two people that I learned a lot from that I would look up. They both work in Ableton, but the techniques they use are universally applicable. Which is Slink and Mr. Bill. Both have really good tutorial series. They have hundreds of videos that just walk you through, and they're not like the basic tutorials to like teach you how to use compression or something like that. It's more taking a sound and then just warping it and doing all sorts of stuff to it to make it way more unique. Even the most basic, like just a C square, and you take that and then they do all sorts of stuff to it and it becomes this amazing sound. And they teach you not only the techniques they use, but also the thought process behind using all those, and like how you would attack going at different sounds to make
Right.
them sound really unique. So I would definitely
And
look up.
free, and
Yeah,
there's a
it
free
is
way
free.
to get a
Yeah.
lot of it's sound manipulation and resampling. It's just
Which
awesome.
every doll has the stuff that they use. They use only stock in these tutorials. So yeah, Slink and Mr. Bill, I would look up both of them and go through their
Agree. And
videos.
Mr. Bill has a podcast too. Mr. Bill's
Yeah,
podcast.
Mr. Bill's awesome.
Totally.
So other than that, I mean, I liked the arrangement of the song. It really was just this sound choice for me and design. I'm not even gonna touch on the mixing. But yeah, I really liked the vibe of the song, and I think the Graveyard Party title is pretty fitting for it.
Yeah, I liked
So,
it. I was
yeah,
thinking like
I liked
Monster
it. It was
Bash
fun.
or some fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I guess Blay, right? I don't know
Yeah.
what Radium's doing.
Typing
Yeah.
up her thesis.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with what you guys said. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think. I like the barking sound, like a dog barking, and I think it works with the title because I'm imagining there's like this graveyard, and then there is a dog, and he's barking at things, and then I don't know, stuff happens. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Yeah, I think you had some interesting ideas in terms of melodies, in terms of harmony. So definitely keep at it, and I think what's good is that your track wasn't you did loop things, but I felt like you had long flowing sections with longer melodies and longer chord progressions, which you don't hear that often nowadays. I mean, obviously you do, but depending on genre, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. So no, I think that's good, and I think you should. I think you should keep doing that and keep working on that too. Not just the sound design. So what I'd recommend, well, definitely the recommendations and suggestions of Guild and Retro are pretty good. Pretty good. They are fantastic suggestions.
Wow.
But but I think you should always keep in mind that sound design is more or less a facade, and I'm saying more or less. Being fair
Well,
with that.
sound selection, if not sound design.
Yeah, and I'm just saying. It can easily. There's always it's a fine balance of how you utilize different things and what you put your focus on. Big danger with
that.
sound design is that people often use it or tend to, without even noticing it, use it to cover up bad core ideas, bad core composition. So I heard a lot with people that have, a lot of sound design with, there's just, it's just packed with things and stuff. But when you break it down, there's sometimes even just one chord and there's no melody, and maybe it's two notes
Which
alternating.
is very deliberate sometimes too. They're like,
Right on.
okay, this is not about the different chords. This is about the sound itself, and focus on this crazy sound I made. And
yeah, but
the
if
rhythm
the
of it.
entire track,
Right.
but if the
And
entire track
you wonder
is
why.
just,
Right.
if the entire track
In
is
every genre,
just,
there's going to be different levels of it for sure. But you wonder how some of these genres even get popular in the first place. And you're like drone music. You can't go to drone music and say, "Oh, there's not enough melody here necessarily." You're like, "Oh, well, it's
yeah,
drone
but
music."
it's usually not that. It's usually not that. Usually it's unintentional. Pretty usually almost all of the time it's unintentional. And it shows, and people wonder why their music isn't so exciting, like this one track, and that's the reason. The core idea is bad, or it's uninteresting, and they cover it up with too much sound design, and sometimes it can be quite hard to get out of that, because then you have all these sounds, and it's really hard to, keep going with it. So you end up copying more things, and you end up copying more things, because then you also have to apply these changes to the other melodies that you introduce. So you're not going to do that because it's more work. So you got to be careful. It's a balance. You need to be
It's
careful
definitely a
with.
balance, but you don't want to hold yourself back if you could definitely get some better sounds. And it's not just sound design; it's sound selection. It's like why you want to go with a cheap sounding, toy sounding violin for one of your pieces. You're going to go find the best sounding violin you have. But if someone's starting with a basic sine wave, like I want to make my own sound, they shouldn't hold themselves back with just a simple sine wave. They should either go use presets and find a very nice sounding sound, or they need a sound design to the point where the sound is at the level that their listeners want to hear it at. Don't cover anything up with your sound design, but definitely create good sounds. You want to use good sounds. You want to start with good sounds, you want to find good sounds, or you want to make good sounds, but don't hold yourself back with cheesy
Yeah, but
sounds.
always keep it in balance with the actual ideas, with the actual composition, because that is the core, the fundamental of every track. It's the most important thing. That's where everything starts. Sounds come after. Composition first. Ideas
Right.
first.
No, I mean, it's just definitely a really smart way to write a very emotional, timeless piece. Is make sure it can be played on multiple, a piano, standalone on just
Not
a
even talking
guitar. It could
about
be
that.
transient, so
Not
just
even
a
talking
good
about,
song.
yeah.
Right. I agree, though. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Radium, are you ready? Because we should we have a bunch of
Did
submissions
Radium even
today.
hear this one? Radium, did you catch any of this one before when you tuned in?
Hi. Yes, the I heard the song. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So what's your feedback?
The stage is yours.
I didn't finish writing my feedback.
Start reading where you left off. No, start picking up. Wing it from where you left off. Or whatever.
I'll open a parenthesis as I start by saying I like the brief moment where there was this little debate of adding the experience factor to the way you give feedback. So do you change the way you give feedback to someone who's been making music for a month versus someone who's been making music for a year? I don't know, it's a good debate.
I agree. I mean, it makes a big difference for sure.
But I do say that even with that factor, there's also so much other stuff that can how would I say it? Influence that experience. Someone who's been making music for a month, if they have prior music experience, versus someone who's been making music for a year, but they just got a laptop. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay, anyway, enough intro. I'll give my feedback based on me in the car listening to the radio. Because to me, that's the best. It depends on your mindset, but to me, that's the best kind of feedback. Because at the end of the day, it's the feedback of the listener that matters. Because they're the ones bringing the moolah.
Right.
So, it was, I'm not going to be mean and say, that song sucked. It's not true. Okay, that's not true. The song didn't suck. Okay? So you can put the tissues away. You don't have to cry. You don't have to stop doing music. Your song was fine. But it's kind of empty to me. Very basic. Very, how would I say that? It, I got the vibe of playing an old school Newsground Flash game. And it's not necessarily bad. I'm not gonna say, oh, it's a bad thing. I mean, it brought a vibe, so clearly there's something behind the song. But yeah, it kind of sounded empty. Mm, I'm not gonna say that word. Empty, repetitive, and this is why I write the shit I say, because otherwise I'm just sitting here like super quiet. It's not it's not a bad song. It's not a bad song, but it's empty. it doesn't seem to go anywhere. It seems to just kind of loop. I don't get a theme. I don't really get a vibe. And
I
I
see
think
like a
that's
jingle, like a little melody, like a jingle kind of thing, but not
yeah,
like
like you're playing a video game. It's a music that's in the background. So yeah.
it'd be good for
So
that
at
too.
this
So,
point, it's like, wait. My bad. Okay. So at this point, the question you would have to ask yourself is, what vibe did you want to deliver? Because I'm thinking, okay, the title is Graveyard Party, Graveyard, Spooky, October, Spooky Season, but I'm now spooked.
Yeah,
So
the
what
hell's
vibe
up
do you
with
want to
that?
give? I have a thing
that
for
was true. It
titles
wasn't
and
really
Lay has
spooky.
a thing for stories. So yeah, it's like Graveyard Party. I'm not spooked. Everything sounded super chibi, cute, happy. So it's like, is it for I don't know.
That is true. That's
More of
true.
the story. I should learn to write faster, but also
Yes.
I think keep in mind. I don't know what your experience is. I don't know what your experience in producing is, but keep in mind what you want to deliver when you make songs, what you want the person to feel, what you
Yeah.
want them to hear, and take things slow.
Right.
And I forgot what I was gonna say next.
No, I definitely agree with that. Take things slow. I mean, like, here's the thing: like, put it out and think about your track for a while, listen to it, and come back. Think of like, don't always feel like, oh, I gotta finish this track. I gotta do this. It's gotta be done. I've got to add everything so I can call it finished. I like to always think of it as just like really own your track. I mean, from a songwriter's perspective, you know, be proud of every little element and spend a good amount of time on each part, and then. You know, if something's not sounding right, don't call it a finished track. Go call it a demo, post it, and then don't give up on it. Just really think about like, you know, this is, you know, what can I do to this track to like take it to another level and stuff. So I mean,
yeah, and you still
learn-
got long ways to go. I mean, you said that you've been doing this for 2.5 years, so really you're at the beginning of your journey. So there's so much more you're gonna discover and you're gonna learn, and I think it's important to let this naturally progress and develop.
That's one of the funnest parts about making music too. It's just
Yeah.
you always getting better. Cool. Shall we go on? 244.
Yes. Let's move on. Yeah. All right. Our next track is going to be Firestarter. Firestarter. Sorry, I had to double check. By Kitsune Power. Have fun.
Under fire. Under fire. We gon' start that fire, bitch. We gon' start that fire, we gon' start that fire, bitch. We gon' start that fire, bitch.
All right. That was Firestarter by Kitsun Power. What did you guys think?
KP, cool. So we've been hearing a lot of your tracks, KP, lately. I definitely like your style a lot. You have a style. I wouldn't say it's completely original, but it's noticeable that you stick to a style. So that's either something you're a big fan of, maybe it's probably related to the artist you listen to, maybe your favorite artist, or maybe just not listening to enough music outside of things. Now, again, I'm gonna judge it on through the lens of, this is your favorite style of music, and this is the kind of music you want to make, and you're competing with the other artists in this genre. So, those are your boundaries, those are your rules, and that's the bar. So I'm not gonna worry too much about, it's more of this genre that someone may or may not like. It's the genre that you like. So in this genre, it has evolved to such a level that this is just another track. That's kind of similar to I think the feedback we gave you last week, and you took it kind of like, oh no, I wasn't trying to be negative. It just sounds like another track on the radio. People call those filler tracks. Big bands have always had them on their albums. They're just another track saying, oh yeah, I know you can make music like that. That's cool. But it's not moving the genre forward at all, or trying anything that hasn't been heard before. And which is sometimes fine, but when the mix is not perfect, then it holds it back. So the problem with this one is the mix wasn't perfect. Some of the sounds were too just kind of piercing, and just like stabbing through in a way, like not distorting or anything, but just kind of there was holes in the mix, I think, in the spectrum, and then there was other sounds that were really boosted, which was leaving kind of an interesting mix, I guess you could say. It is not similar to a lot you would hear in this genre. So I think the mix would probably need to be a little bit more polished, and then it would just roll over as like, oh, okay, cool, here's another track, let's put that on a playlist, let's drop it in the club. We need more tracks for the night. And so it would work. But since it really wasn't at that level, I think you should take it back, do another mix down if you're going to keep working on it. Or maybe your next track, just pay attention. I keep saying this. You had a track called Get Purple. I don't know what you did to get the mix so nice on that. Maybe it was just sound selection. People don't realize like how much, if you just start with good source material, it's so much easier to mix your track. So really, if you're having a hard time mixing a sound, maybe you should swap that sound out for a different sound. Don't try to keep hammering something in. If you're having to like drastically EQ things, you probably just need to switch to a different sound. So I don't know. I would say I definitely like your style. Definitely like the track. I think it would work in a dance thing, but it just needs to be polished. The vocal needs to be a little bit. It was a little bit behind when the little build-up vocal, the Firestarter thing was a little like behind the mix, and then it got on top of the mix. It just really was. It kind of seemed a little loose. Maybe you need like some kind of glue compressor on that somehow. I don't know. But other than that, really good job as usual. What do you think, Retrograde?
Okay, so I actually don't have a lot to say about this one. So what I've noticed in general is I would say your production's getting much better. But, and we kind of talked about this, it kind of sounds like if I looked up, Big Room, how to make Big Room Ableton tutorial, and then followed it exactly, and then changed some of the notes. That's kind of what it sounds like, where you've made a really nice product. It sounds clean and everything, and you've made it sound like how everybody else in the industry makes their song sound like, but you didn't add much of your own personality to it. And so what I would say is, definitely watch those tutorials and even make the project after it, and then and then I would just take the ideas and the techniques from those tutorials and then use them to make to make your own music, because they're very helpful, but they can take your inspiration away by holding your hand through the production. So that honestly, I know there's no technical feedback or anything like that, because Gil kind of went over the mixing, and there's and I'm sure Blay will go over the more composition side of it, but I think this was more of a inspiration issue than anything else, because the actual production was pretty good. So that's really all.
Right.
And also, Gil was definitely right about you need to do something about the vocals, and the vocoded vocal was really weird. Like the release on it was really long, and a few other things that I think if you just clean those up and also maybe lowered it a little bit, that would make it fit in a lot better. But that's not that big a deal.
Right. It's a lot of times those mixing issues I find come from either always mixing on the same set of speakers or headphones and not giving like enough chances like go listen on different systems, and especially if the only system you're using might not be like in the right speakers right spacing from the wall and the right, so you want to definitely make sure you have a good mixing environment. It's really so important. People underestimate how important the mixing environment is, and then the headphone mix compared to the speaker mix. I find, I mean, everyone does it different, but I do a lot of headphone stuff first, and then I always go do mix downs on speakers. And I find that the volumes are never really set right until I do the speaker mix down and stuff. That's everything. So on the headphones, everything sounds loud and cool, and you really can fine tune the frequencies and really make sure everything's matching frequency wise. And you can do some really cool stereo imaging and make sure it all sounds amazing on headphones. But then you take it to the speakers, you'll notice a lot of the things that you thought were really loud is not as loud, and some things you thought were quiet are actually really loud. And you take it to other sets of speakers, and that might not have that same problem, because on stereo systems and speakers, they are adding curves to represent like to just make it sound brighter and louder and stuff. And when you're usually in the studio, you're working with like a flat thing. So I don't know, it's just really important. Usually when you think something sounds good and we're all saying, oh, that vocal stands out, and this one thing is to tell, because on your speakers, it probably sounds fine. You need to be very critical of your stuff everywhere. Take a notepad with you or your iPhone or whatever, and take notes. Go back to the studio, change it, go back to the speakers, listen to it again, take more notes, and just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You'll start getting an ear for the sound, and you won't even have to go to other speakers as much. You'll learn how to correct that even on just one on your own speakers. But anyways,
Can also help
sorry, I
to
didn't-
do a visual check with measuring software,
Right.
visual tools, EQs, loudness meters, stuff like that.
Definitely.
Spectrometers.
So what do you think, Blake? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys. I think your production itself is getting better, and the quality of ideas is degrading at the same time, which is a bit unfortunate. Purple was interesting, and like Radium said, it was because you tried something new, something different. You didn't really, care about what happened and where you went with things. And so it was interesting, and we liked it. And now this is the perfect example for something that is as generic as it gets. And it sounds like Retro said, it sounds like a tutorial thing, something you'd see in the tutorials. And Radium found something. I couldn't check it yet, but I'm gonna trust her that it does sound the same. So there seems to be some truth to that.
Investigation sleuthing.
Yeah. But I think you should definitely be really careful with where you're at right now, and if you're paying attention to what we said or what I said to YillLillio just before your track, I said there's you got to be careful with sound design and stuff like that, because there's a balance between that or with that and the core thing of music, which is composition, of course, and it's a fine line. There's a critical balance going on there, and I think that's just where you're at right now and where it's fading right now, is that the choirs they are degrading in quality. So I think it's really important that you go away from this sort of tutorial stuff. I'm gonna guess that that's actually how this came to be, because the last couple of submissions we heard, except for Purple, did seem like it came straight from watching a tutorial on something and replicating that. That's why I hate tutorials. I hate these tutorials, and I keep telling it to people. I keep telling people, and yeah, of course you can learn from them, and it's good practice and whatever. And how? No, usually it's not. Usually, this is something beginners look at, and they just copy it, and you don't really learn anything doing that, because you're just copying methods. You're not actually learning how things work. So the only tutorials that I'll agree are useful and are good are ones that just explain how the software works, for example, or maybe some things about technical reasons for why does this matter, why does that matter. But you could just as good, read an article on how these things work. Just always be careful when in tutorials you hear someone saying things like, just do it like that, and just do this and that, and without explanation. Don't listen to it. Just ignore it, because that's usually the opinion stuff. That's usually the stuff that's going to get you far. That's the stuff that's going to drive you into a dead end, because you're going to just copy something someone else did. Too. Yeah,
there are a lot of those straight to the point. They're trying to show you how fast. They're almost mocking the genre, almost insulting. Like, look how fast I can make a EDM track. Boom, 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 and it's really quick. Yeah. I think it would pay anyone a lot of. It's totally worth it if you're going to make any sort of house genre or any genre in all. Go explore the history of the genre. Go listen to every artist from the earliest of the stages of that genre. See where they evolved. That's why when you're working on the song, you can cleverly pay tribute to the earliest stuff. You can do clever things, and you can see all the other ideas like in stuff. And just really gotta, if you want to do a genre, you need, instead of copying one little tutorial on how fast you can make the song, go investigate documentaries and all of the genre. Really spend some time in the genre. Oh, sorry, Blake. I just was thinking what you're saying. You're like, you're right, because there are a lot of little tutorials that are like, oh, just add a riser, add a kick drum, boom, 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 add a bass, and they're almost like meme style tutorials. And I don't know if those are the ones you're watching, but those are definitely the ones I would think Blake's talking about. How they just kind of like, you're not going to learn anything as far as how to be creative. You're going to learn how to just get a sound that sounds like that. And all those things have been just sound like, to me, like intros to YouTube videos and stuff. When things become so easy to make, they just sound like little little things you hear, little jingles and stuff.
Basically like a rule of thumb to go by. If the title says something like how to sound like blah 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 blah, just don't bother. Just don't watch it. It's gonna be ridiculous, and it's gonna be ridiculously useless. The tutorials you want to look for are things that talk about techniques, that talk about maybe talk about ideas. But if even the title itself suggests that you're gonna learn how to copy something, just don't bother. I don't know, Radium, how far you are with your feedback, but I'm looking at the time, and I think we got 3 more submissions, so we should try to move quickly today.
It's like how slow you said that. And we're running out of time.
Yes.
So,
How many submissions? Because I'm not doing it again.
We have 3 more submissions.
Okay, they're gonna wait for me. I'm not doing that thing where I'm super quiet in front of my screen again.
Just type your
Give me
feedback
30
into
seconds.
the
30
chat.
seconds.
Alright, 30 seconds. We'll stop for 30 seconds.
30 seconds stop chrono.
I wonder if that extra pressure makes it harder for Radium to write. 25 seconds.
Probably.
Okay, so everyone, just
That's
a quick.
not helpful.
No, I know. A quick shout out. I know. Again, the Halloween thing. Go check out the Halloween pack if you haven't got it yet. Make a Halloween track. It'll be really fun. Saturday hangout.
At the chat. Chico was asking if she should buy one speaker too. Definitely get 2 at least.
Unless
Wait,
you're
for
only
mixing?
working in mono.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
You should definitely buy 2, but you should also learn the power of mixing in mono and use one speaker if you have to. But you want to know what your stuff sounds like in real stereo and all that stuff. Remember though, if you take it to
Always
a club or a
get 2
dance club or anything like that,
speakers.
a lot of people are always get 2 speakers, and you want to try to find a matching pair if you can, because sometimes
Yeah, you shouldn't
higher
get.
monitors you want to get a matching.
Yeah, you shouldn't get your left
I
speaker.
mean, as in serial numbers, you want to get 2 serial numbers that are back to back, like as in like a true matching pair if possible.
Well, you definitely.
Well,
want
that's
that,
not
'cause
really.
They're all gonna apply their own. I mean, it's not like a software EQ, but they all have their own, tone and everything. And you don't
Definitely
want
between different
totally
brands, but I
sounding.
hear but I hear
between
even
different
in the same
products.
brand. Yeah, well, definitely. But I hear even like if say you went out to buy 2 Yamaha HS80s, but then you go to the store, one of them breaks, and you go to the store to buy another one. There's a really good chance that other one's not going to be exactly, I don't know, whatever reason, it's not going to be exactly the same. And they say on the higher end ones, one of the things they advertise on the box is like perfectly matched pair, and you look at the serial numbers and they're like back to back. I don't know, something
It's not really about the serial numbers though. A matched pair. So the serial numbers, they don't really say anything about that because a matched pair can only be determined by, it's down to materials. It's down to the quality of manufacturing materials. And it's never going to be the same, and it has nothing to do with the serial number, because you can have 2 sheets of paper, and one has a ditch in it, the other doesn't, but they're the same sheet of paper. They're from the same tree or something. It doesn't really work like that. So for matched pairs, both for microphones and for speakers and other things, what they do is they take measuring devices and measure basically what basically measure where they're at and a number of different things, and obviously frequency range and frequency thing how well they render the spectrum and things like that. They measure that, and they get a pair that is close to another. And then sometimes how this happens with the serial numbers being back to back, sometimes what companies do is they assign the serial number after they've matched them. So then they have maybe one mic from batch number 100 and one other from batch number 300. They match the mics and they say, okay, this is now 401 and 402, but actually it's like 406 and 330 or something.
Yeah, it's interesting that, I mean, you make a lot of sense. I mean, it's really just about how it ends up sounding when they're done putting it together, and if there's a flaw or whatever, they need to match it with a better one and stuff. And cheaper monitors don't really do that. They just come off assembly line, and you're going to get what you get. They're always
okay, the 30 seconds, also known as 5 minutes, are over. So,
to be fair, it's your fault. You should have counted. Shit, I'm sorry. Is my mic working?
Yes,
you are working. You got
okay, good.
5 more seconds.
Yes.
I realize I take more time to type because I'm trying to be nice.
If you just let her go, it's going to be more harsh
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I know it is. I was writing a lot, but I
It's like when
realized
they
it was very, very mean.
It's that same thing if they say, if you ever hear they say, if you're really angry at someone, write them a letter, but don't send it to them. All right, go for it.
Okay. So I did my best to be as nice as possible. So I promised to not make you cry. Well, maybe not anymore. If you do cry, too bad. You're such a roller coaster. I think you're at the point in your learning phase where what you do is like a hit or miss, in the sense, like, you're not the only producer who goes through that phase. I think it's normal at some point to have good tracks and maybe tracks that are not up to par to what you can achieve. I think for you it's caused because you don't try to take a chance to do something that's a bit different. You have the genre you want to do, and then there's a common way to do that, and you know how to do the common way, but you never step away from the common way. You want to fit in, and as you try to fit in, because in a way you do fit in, you don't let your own personal talent shine through. And I think at the end of the day, that kills what you can do. Because I can easily take that track. I can easily send you, if I were like, let's say, a club promoter and I need a DJ, I could easily slip through your SoundCloud or whatever, IOU for the night, and you would go perform all your things at a club because it would fit in that context. You could perform in front of like 1,000 people, and at the end of the night, not one of these 1,000 people would know your name or even know that you were a new producer or whatever. Why? Because you sound generic as fuck. See, that's the part where I started writing more. I'm sorry. I get that it's what you want to make. I get it's what you like, but I don't think it's an excuse to settle for being common to the point where I could erase your name, put a new one there, and no one would see the difference. On the contrary, I think the fact that it's what you like and what you want should be the reason you try as hard as possible to fit out. Be the producer in that genre that ends up doing or sounding different. So one day people try to copy your sound because you did something that was special. You're in that genre, but you still managed to stand out. People talked about tutorials, and if I could have my opinion, I like tutorials in a sense. Maybe it's because I use them very differently. Like, I'm not against a tutorial. I think it's just with everything that's on YouTube, it's just like the point is to filter the tutorial. It's like, thank you for teaching me how to make trap, for example, but I would like to know why I'm supposed to have an 808, or I would love to know how to make my own 808. Fuck, whatever. I would love to know how to do this. I like it when the person doing the tutorial shows me something I did not know was possible, and then I try it for myself in a different setting months later, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm so fucking good at what I do. This is what you should. I think it's how you use a tutorial. If all you do is copy it, don't bother. But if you look at it and you learn, or you get a new perspective, like, oh wow, I did not know I could use this type of chord. Oh, I did not know I could do this and that. Oh, I did not know I could open Serum and do this and that. I think that could be a lot more helpful. But I think in your case, I wouldn't say go find a tutorial. I'd say go listen to music. Like, fuck the tutorial. Like, open Spotify, take a random playlist, and listen to the music. And then find something in that music or a particular song that you liked, and then try to apply it to your song. That will be 1,000 times more helpful than a
Use
tutorial.
your ears.
Yeah. Because the best way to learn at the end of the day is by trying something.
Yeah, and experiment.
Trying to achieve it on your own.
I remember how many times I tried to make a Skrillex Yoi bass, and I had no clue how he did it. Yeah, if I would have just watched the tutorial from the beginning, I would have been like, oh, okay, that's how he's doing it. And then I would have skipped all that fun sound experimenting that I learned all that stuff. So
You would have skipped the
I've
learning
actually-
of how to do other things.
I would have skipped the learning how to do other things and figuring
and
things
why
out. And I
that,
side
and,
with
and
radio
why it works and how it works.
and why it works and other things you can do and you stumble across so many things when you're experimenting. You go, oh well, that's not what I'm trying to make, but that sounds like that other thing. But I do side with Radium definitely with tutorial. I watch every tutorial that pops up on my thing, and I watch it without even copying. I just watch it to go, oh, okay, cool, next. Watch it. I don't know. I'm a geek like that, but I watch them all, and it feels like conquering. I'm like, okay, if there's something that's popular out there, everyone's doing it. It's really cool. I at least want to know how they're doing it. I'm not going to copy it, but I want to know how they're doing it. So when someone's talking to me, I'm not like, yeah, that thing that's I want to know how they're doing. I want to be like, oh yeah, they're just taking this or doing this or doing this. I can do that too if I wanted to. I'm not going to do it. It's definitely worth learning the tricks of your, of everyone, but you don't want to copy. Experiment. Take the same thing you know how to do, and then go start running it through experiments until all of a sudden it sounds like, whoa, I've never heard that before. I'm going to release it and see what everyone else thinks of this thing that's never been heard before. That's when I think releasing music gets fun. You're like, look what I created, everybody. It's never been heard before, and go release that. But sorry, Raiden, were you finished? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So let's move on since we have 3 left and we're already past the second hour, right? Everybody, play.
Shit. Yeah,
play.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was muted. I'm so sorry. Anyway, yes. Okay, let's move on. That's embarrassing.
Nice.
Let's move on. Our next submission, our next track is going to be Umuulan text by John Andrew Tubalinal X Arc. Yes.
Read the screen. You will see what play you're trying to read.
I read it perfectly, and you'll see it in just a sec. Here we go. Have fun.
Suliyapan mo ang liwanag, mga mensaheng di natinag. Ano ang next? Umuulan ng text 97 na mensahe, copy-paste ang nagparami. Di ko inasahan ang aking masisilayan, ang dami mong tawag na hindi ko nasagot. Nananalangin lang dahil sure rin akong lagot sa'yo. Pero di na ako natatakot, diretsong call sa'yo kahit nalulungkot. Hindi na ako nababahala. Ulan, 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 bumabagyo na nga dito. Ulan, 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 inaangat na ang cellphone ko. Sa dinami-dami ng message mo, one word lang ang nakuha ko sa'yo. Kinabagan kita, kinausap kita, kamusta ka na dyan? Nakatulog ka pa ba? Grabe talaga ang ganda. Pag-gising na pag-gising ko ang lamya, pinipilit abutin ang cellphone ko. Hindi sumusunod ang brasong to. Ilang beses pa ba ako magigising? Nagpa-vibrate ang phone pero walang dating. Ramdam ko ang presensya ngunit bahagya. Gigising sa umaga, sure na ako na merong gera. Di ko inasahan ang aking masisilayan, ang dami mong tawag na hindi ko nasagot. Nananalangin lang dahil sure rin akong lagot sa'yo. Pero di na ako natatakot, diretsong call sa'yo kahit nalulungkot. Hindi na ako nababahala. Ulan, 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 bumabagyo na nga dito. cellphone ko. Sa dinami-dami ng message mo, malulang ang nakuha ko sa'yo. Tinawagan kita, kinausap kita, kamusta ka na dyan? Nakatulog ka pa ba? Nag-iisip ako kung bakit ba nagising ka ng maaga. Nagtataka ako kung bakit ka umiiyak. Nanaginip ka kaya o meron pang iba. Di ako nagigising, ang cellphone hindi nagdiring. Di ko inasahan na aking masisilayan. Ang dami mong tawag na hindi ko nasagot. Nananalangin lang dahil sure akong lagot sa'yo. Cellphone ko. Sa dinami-dami ng message mo, manulang ang nakuha ko sa'yo. Tinawagan kita, kinausap kita, kamusta ka na dyan? Nakatulog ka pa ba?
All right. That was Umuulan text by John Andrew Tubalinal X Arc. All right, and I think we've learned that the title means
Rain.
It
It's
means-
raining.
it's
Or
raining text or something. Yes, and it's because this seems to be what language again?
A Philippine.
Right.
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 Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
We
completely-
Radium looked it up. So we are sleuthing. We are investigating some of these things behind the scenes because that was interesting.
yeah.
And I'll say, I mean, we keep an open discussion, but for sure, I liked it. I think the vocals need some like some professional mixing techniques applied
They
to
need
them.
some not recording into a phone.
Yeah. I mean, the song was great. The song was neat. I liked the genre for sure. Reminded me of a lot of animes I watch and stuff. Kind of like the opening, credits or whatever. But it just seemed like it was like a garage mix or a phone mix or something like that. Yeah. But I definitely liked it.
Oh my
Ark, I liked a lot of
god.
it. What?
He left us a
Notes?
translation in the notes. Raining SMS.
Raining SMS, which is like text. Yeah.
This is the one again.
I'll let you read the notes.
Yeah.
Joey, if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna read the note. I'm so sorry. Oh god, I feel so stupid. All right, so Umuulan text or Raining SMS is a Filipino song written by John Andrew Tubalinal, and he also recorded the guitar. Oh, the guitar parts as well. Okay. The song is about waking up in the middle of the night, seeing your phone being overtaken by a tremendous number of unread messages. I'm reading words that aren't there. By the love of your life, also knowing that you are screwed if you aren't replying to that person in that specific time moment.
Well, that's precise and yeah, cool.
Yes.
So it's raining. Yeah, so raining text. So yeah. So I think I can relate to that maybe once in my life, but for sure, like I like that you had like it does. It has a meaning. There's lyrics. He was singing the lyrics. It sounded like it was singing the title. It's like a real song. I guess everything here is a real song, I guess you could say. But some of them I literally like separate some of this stuff as like a track, a jingle, a song, a melody. You know, some of this stuff to me, a whip. But this to me, you know, is traditional music. I come from playing rock and stuff like that myself, playing in punk bands and everything. And then just any style of where you're just taking like, your lyrics and you're singing them, you're part of the band, and in the electronic music that we hear so often, the vocalist is usually not even part of the group at all. It's just vocal samples or maybe a remix or something. But when it comes to like other genres, the vocalist is very much like this is about the lyrics, this is about the performance, about all the band members playing together, being able to do that live as a performance. There's no extra, if there's no extra sounds thrown in there if it's not able to be played. It's just like it's a good song. I just think the production needs to be taken to to a hold to a higher standard. It really is. Even in some of the lo-fi style of recording you still hear in all genres of music, because it's just like people like, oh, I don't need it, I like that sound. You're still going to get certain frequencies and certain. It's not going to be muddy. It's still going to be clean enough where it sounds modern in a way. It's pleasing more than anything. You want the kick drum and the snare drum and the hat and the highs and the vocals. Everything placed just where it's supposed to be, and it's not being like too like drowned out by something else. But then you don't want to overproduce it in a genre like this. You want to keep it. You want to keep the bleeding into the other mics. Where the overheads are picking up sounds from everything, and everything's just play. That's how you get that more real band sound, but you got to do it right. So I just think it needs a little bit more work on that end, but the song itself was really neat. I liked it. So good job. And Ark, I like a lot of your stuff. You send us a variety for sure. Retro left us.
Oh yeah, Retro left. Had to go. Some important Game Boy business to attend. He needs to recharge his batteries. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, the technical things, they need work, obviously. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that you had to record the vocals into a phone, it seems. If it was intentional, I wouldn't do it. I mean, it could work, and like raining SMS, so I guess it could be related to like phone, and it could be intentional. I kind of would suggest to not do that, because it just sounds low quality. But I don't think it was necessarily intentional, and I think that's the reason why you sort of hid away the vocals in the back, sort of with of the mix, sort of hid it away. That's a bit unfortunate. But maybe there's just no other options for you guys to record, or for John to record this more properly, which obviously is something you can't change. Just unfortunate. It's sad because it seems like they know how to sing, or it's decent at least. But I really liked this. I really like this track, this song. I like what you did with the melodies. It seemed like I could totally expect this. Obviously, with some changes to the quality aspect, the production aspect, could totally see this in some sort of anime opening video or intro. I think works perfect for something like that, which is something I'm getting a sense of a lot from Ark. Seems to be very heavily inspired by these specific kinds of the specific sort of music that you often hear in those mediums, which is nice. I think I like it. It sounds nice. Nice harmony, nice melodies. It's not too outgoing, but it's totally fine. I'd be interested to hear something slightly more experimental by you, Ark. Something maybe even closer to or more leaning towards a more classical kind of style. Not classical totally, but I'd be interested to hear something like that. Yeah, I think it's nice to hear a change of sound in general, because oftentimes we hear the sort of general MIDI sounds, electronic sounding, basic sound. So it's nice to hear this with guitar and bit more exciting in terms of instrumentation. Just some variety. I like that a lot. So yeah, there isn't really much more I want to say. I like it. A couple of things that could be improved.
You know,
Like we said, like Gil said, yeah. But I like it. Like it a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely keep at it. Definitely keep exploring. And definitely keep working and learning and listening to other music and get inspired and do more. And I think it's really good what you're doing. I think you're gonna go far, and I think I think both composer and media composer, in terms of working for visual arts, visual mediums with your music, supporting the story, supporting the emotion with your music. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. So let's keep this moving. I suggest. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and comment and subscribe on our thing. And what do we got? Like 2. Oh wait.
Right. Radium is introducing herself.
I thought I was losing track of things. I thought for some reason I was thinking Radium left, not Retro. Okay, my bad.
What?
I'm getting.
I was sitting back like, is it really about to skip me?
I did skip you. For some reason I go, oh yeah, Radium left us, and I go, no, that was Retrograde. My bad. Radium's turn, and then we'll go on. Okay, go for it, Radium.
Lucky for you, it's gonna be super short. I'm so annoyed. Like the instrumental of the song is great in my opinion. I think Ark is pretty good at what they do, but the singing just wasn't it. Like, oh my god, the quality of the singing.
Yeah.
It wasn't mixed. It's like it's one of those awkward YouTube covers done by a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, like the instrumental is like grade A, S tier, and then there's the singing that's like trying its best. So like,
Yeah.
take the singing, tell the dude the song, please. Let's go back to the studio and re-record the vocals and mix them and work on them a little bit, because don't put this out there like that. It's naked. Don't do it. Like, just work on mixing the vocals a little bit.
Yeah. Change it. Fix it.
Yes, please fix it.
Buy a microphone, drive it to John if you have to, and record multiple takes and splice them together.
Work on the vocal, please.
Yeah.
I heard once there's a trick if you are going to record into an iPhone, which you should go try to get.
No,
another
you should not. Never.
Don't, and you shouldn't listen to Guild's tip right now.
Yes.
No, don't get too close to it. You want to make sure the room is treated. You can still go all the extra mile to make sure you're not getting a bunch of reverb and echo and weird placement, or you're too close to it and you're overloading the sense that if you're gonna
be terrible.
iPhone, try to.
It's gonna be terrible. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
Don't. Forget that.
Yeah, there's no fixing
great
that.
For demos, great for good ideas. And it's also great for you can get attachments for your iPhone, field recorder style attachments, condenser mics, and all that stuff. And you can get little interfaces for your iPhone. I say iPhone, or your phone, your mobile phone, your mobile device.
Yeah,
and you can get a much better input thing. But
yeah, it's all a bit difficult. I think there's still gonna be quality issues with that, because the sound interface of your phone is obviously not gonna be anywhere near dedicated device.
Try to work towards some better stuff. Sure.
Yeah. But that really needs to improve. All right. But yeah. All right. So should we move on?
I think so. Who do we have next?
Yes, our next submission, our next track is going to be "Go Back." Okay, I'm going back. By Emrald. Have fun.
Nice.
You can write a note, you can't even post it. I don't wanna know who you're chilling with lately. Why you got the nerve? I don't even care about the lies. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. You can write a note, you can't even post it. I don't wanna know who you're chilling with lately. Why you got the nerve? I don't even care about the lies. And I just wanna go back. And I just wanna go back. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. You can write a note, you can't even post it. I don't wanna know who you're chilling with lately. Why you got the nerve? I don't even care about the lies. And I just wanna go back. And I just wanna go back. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you. And I just wanna go back to the beginning with you.
All right, that was Go Back by Emrald. So what did you guys think?
I'll start off. Emerald, this was a treat. I really like this track. And we'll probably debate, the simplicity of it and the genericism of it. I don't know if that's a real word. But I like this track a lot. Now, I always talk about a lot of your tracks sound like something if I was just flipping on the dance station on satellite radio and a nice, easy listening track came on, and I'd just be jamming to it. A lot of them I'm just kind of like, I listen to more. I always usually think the same thing. I'm like, this is neat, but I usually listen to, like, where's my Skrillex? All right, where's my something else? But it's like, it's because that's a personal preference. Now, if this song came on the satellite radio, I tuned on like some random satellite radio on the cable station or the radio on the car or whatever, and this came on, I would look over to see who this was just to make sure I added it to a playlist. I would Shazam it or whatever you use, and I would add it to a playlist. I like the vocal. Now, I know that's not you singing and stuff, but at least you didn't ruin the vocal hook with the beat and everything. Like, I love the future house bass line-ish, tropical bass style thing it was. I liked it was mixed well, but I do agree that this is nothing new. I think where a lot of our feedback is kind of like getting lost on the members themselves. And yes, I'll agree that it's unfortunate. I'm not going to say it's not, but where the feedback goes over, it gets lost on them is like some of these producers aren't trying to create something new. They're just trying to learn how to create music. So when they hear something and if they can even, and I'm not saying this is Emrald necessarily, because Emrald, I think you're definitely coming into your own style and you're representing what you like the best. And you're not going to go, well, I'm going to go make heavy distortion. If you don't want heavy, you make really smooth sounding tracks, and you're getting good at it. What I'm saying is a lot of these people, their goal is not to write the next big thing that sounds so different than everyone else's track. It's never been heard before. They're just trying to write something as good to prove that they can. They've been learning for years and they're get better each time. Like, oh, I'm getting so good. Oh, this is the best I've ever done with this style of bass. Yes, it's been done before. Yes, I've heard it before, but this is the best I've ever done with this bass, this and the vocals and this back. This is a really good mix. This is a really good track. Might be outdated, but I'm proud of it. And you're going to post it. And so you're always going to get the feedback that says, oh, it's just so generic. You should really think outside the box. It's too safe, which is me, because that's the kind of music I look for. I always want to find the next big, weird change in music. So that's something that I would be looking for. But sometimes people are just looking for another track that sounds just like their favorite music, and then it's gonna scratch that itch, but it's gonna be fresh enough, it's gonna be new enough. I think you did a good job with this track. I really liked it. Definitely like it better than the last few tracks I've heard from you. Although I think all in all, you're a pretty good producer. I was mentioning in the little private chat that we're all at different levels, I think, and it's hard to gauge what levels you are at. And I think the Radium was mentioning how KP's at a level where some things are going to be good, some things are going to be bad, some things are going to be good, some things are going to be bad. I think you've passed that level to a point now where you're basically learning how to write good music. Now I think the biggest trick for you is going to be ideas, something fresh, something just new ideas, just like something a little different, stick to all your mixing techniques because that's all sounding good and everything, but try to think of something that when it's heard, people are going to be like, wow, I who is this? I want to hear more of this. I hope his next track sounds a lot like this. This is new. This is fresh. This is exciting. When I hear this, I think of Emrald. That's always something to strive for sure. But anyways, good job on the quality of the track for sure. I am curious, Blay, counter argument. No, like, what would you say about this track?
I think I said this. I think I said it on. I don't know. Did I say? Maybe I said it on Monday. Maybe I said it on the last feedback Friday. I don't remember. But I said there's always some sort of theme with these streams. So it's like every week we sort of say the same thing about every single track.
Oh yeah.
One time it's the true peak ceiling, then it's the repetitiveness, then it's this and that. This week it's definitely the generic the stuff being generic and the core ideas being left behind. So there's that theme again that we've heard with pretty much all submissions today, except I think 2. So we're gonna keep up that trend and say, yeah, your production quality is getting better, but you're leaving behind the idea. The ideas, the fundamentals of what music is. The composition, the use of harmony, the use of melody, the ideas, the everything, and only really paying attention to the surface level stuff, the sound design, and what's still important. Of course, quality is still important, like you heard with us criticizing Arc, with a great core idea, with a good composition, and then the quality wasn't up to par with that. Of course, it's important. So like I said when Retro was still here, I don't know, I think it was with Kitsu, and I said it's a balance. It's a fine balance you got to keep up. It's difficult, of course, it's work. It's not easy. None of this is easy. So I think that's exactly what you need. Is you need to have this balance of, yes, good production, but it doesn't matter if you don't have good core ideas. And sometimes good core ideas are enough, and you don't need the quality on top of that. depending on what it is. For example, when it's like just purely a composition and you're showcasing it here, and it's just a general MIDI bullshit sounds. Sorry, but I should censor myself. But it's it's gonna be fine because it's gonna be performed by actual musicians. So this isn't like the end product, so to say. So sometimes really the sound doesn't matter at all. But usually it does for the tracks that are submitted here. But in this case, it really is about this fine balance, and I think it's what a lot of people are leaving behind. And again, that's the theme of this week apparently. Is people leaving behind the fundamentals, the really important stuff. So yeah, good job on the sound design. Good job on the production quality. But you should go back to the drawing board and look at your actual ideas. So I think that's in tune with the title of your track. You should go back and figure out if
Sorry, Blaze.
yeah.
Yeah, Blaze clever like that.
Even when I'm tired, woo. No, but you should definitely not neglect your ideas, inspiration. You should not neglect composition.
And I keep thinking about like that. Like, what do I do? I've always been a really creative person. I know this for sure. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm not, but as creative, but I am. I can look at. I create a problem solver, but even more so, I can see something, and it gives me ideas. Like if I hear something, someone do something, I never think about doing the same thing. What it gives me an idea. And it's usually something weird, and it takes me a little bit to figure it out. But I'm a really creative person, and it's been with that, like in games I've played, like, everybody's got the same set of gear they can wear. I was always that person that would put on something a little different or change something just to stand out a little, it's that whole thing. And it's, I think you can do that in your music too. Like, you can do something that's very similar than everyone else, but then go back to it and turn your hat around. To do something a little different to your track to just make people go, why did you do that? Okay, cool, kudos. And it's like, okay, cool. He does that every time. It becomes your thing. And it's little ideas. And you need to run with the ideas like, okay, cool, future bass. You got a cool future bass sound. You can do a cool bass line with it. What is something creative you can do, though, to it to really just make it your own thing? You know what I mean? And there's a number of things you can do. And there's a number of things that have been done with it. And sometimes a good bass line is just a good bass line. But overall, you can take the fundamentals of your track. And I really actually thought this is a good idea on your part, whether it was sparked by the vocals or whatever. This was, I think, one of your best compared to other ones. But I would definitely aim to make something that sounds, like Blaze been saying, and we keep repeating, something that doesn't sound like something that sounds fresh, something that sounds like a new idea, something that sounds not so generic.
Yeah.
And it could be the simplest little thing you do to the track. It doesn't have to be the whole thing. Like, rewrite the whole thing and use a totally different chord that no one else uses. Because when you do too much, it doesn't fit in the genre anymore. And then, yes, it still might be a neat track and it might be lost on some people. But problem with that is all the people that you want to listen to your tracks, it's not going to give it a chance, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you need to relate it enough. So they're like, I love this. But he's doing something a little different, And there's kings of that all through kings and queens of that all the way through the music industry. Looking at Radium's thing, see if she's ready. Not yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry. One thing because I forgot again because I'm being ridiculous today. Emrald left us a note saying for the second verse I'm going to try to get a rapper or another singer to provide variety to the song. I just want to say real quick before Radium gives you a feedback. I just want to say you got to be careful with what I just said and what Gil just said. This balance, it's a very fine balance, and I think this to me sounds like covering up things. So that's not gonna really, the core idea is still gonna be problematic. So just slapping on more things, you can always do that, but it's this balance thing. You can do that, but it's not gonna change the core problem. So you need to get the fundamentals right. Anyway,
yeah, for sure.
And here's Radium.
I'll keep it short. Um, it's very nostalgic to me. Like it's very 2015, 2016 pop music with Chainsmokers or what I would like to call radio pop music. I like the song, but I do think it's very simplistic in its production. But I could vibe to it in the radio, in the car if I'm on my way to the store. However, I wouldn't look up who made or sing. It's very generic radio pop music. I think you're talented and you're very good at making what the mainstream likes, whether people vibe with it or not. If something that's more pop isn't something you enjoy making or you'd like to explore, um, I think someone of your caliber could, instead of going with what is popular, could redefine it or do something new with it. Because right now there's a heavy vibe that involves sounds from the 70s, 80s, and stuff. It's very throwback where we are in pop music at the moment. So I would love to see how you could produce it. If you could redefine it. Like pop is all something that sucks with pop music. It's the moment someone makes a formula that works, everyone's gonna try to copy it until someone makes a new formula that works. So it's like think ahead of the game. How can you redefine something? How can you make something new?
Right.
It's just something I'm saying.
It's so true, though. I mean, I don't know if everyone's. I know everyone finds everything, but those are my favorite artists. Are the ones that are so they changed the game, and I can list countless in every genre, but they're in through many decades. But it's the members that they definitely don't sound like anyone else. And not only that, everyone always refers to them. You always hear me always talking about Skrillex and Deadmau5 because I'm dating myself a little bit, but that was some of the stuff that really turned me over from rock into electronic music, is because I found what I was looking for and a lot of that stuff finally. And but they're known for that. But you go through all genres of music, all the way back with the Beatles and Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and Tool and Mozart and all these people that they're known. And then you get into pop music and stuff today with Billie Eilish and The Weeknd and Post
Dua Lipa.
Malone. Yeah, and a whole bunch of but it's like they're so that's what makes them so. I mean, not to even like give them extra like put them on a pedestal and idolize anything about them, but what makes them so cool is that they are trendsetters. They're doing their own thing, and everyone's trying to be like them in a sense. And whatever they do and they touch it,
Well, not everyone, but
not everyone. I don't know.
yeah.
Everyone in the pop world, and but yeah, not everyone. But inspired by, very much so, inspired by what is trending and what's popular. But the most creative people take it back and they twist it into a level where it's like, the Flume and the other Flumes of really good EDM artists. It's just like super popular, but not like sell out mainstream popular. Just the most weirdest sound design textures and stuff. And people are like, oh, it's so weird, but it's cool. It's Flume. And stuff like that. You just do something that's so unique, so different, and you get known for it. And people are just like, oh, that's that Flume sound, or that's that whatever sound. So that's that Emrald sound. That's that Emrald sound. That's what I've always liked in artists. Again, not every artist is probably maybe looking for that. Maybe you're just looking, trying to make that commercial track to sell. Ghost producers is a lot of times what a lot of these cliche, like these commercial sounding producers end up becoming sometimes, unfortunately, or just ghost producers. Because yes, you can create a great track, but you never really define yourself as an individual artist. You kind of just showing off your skills, and you're kind of more of a hired gun or whatever. But Emrald, definitely, like I've been checking out some of your little video clips and stuff you've been doing lately too. Really good stuff, and always excited to see what you're coming up to. All right, I'm looking at the time. I think we got one more track. Not to cut
We do,
anyone else
yeah.
off, but
Do you think?
play that track?
Do you want to
I think we
rush
should play
through it, or should we?
Say, who is it? Who is it? Not to pick favorites, but
Oh no. I mean, it's,
like,
technically we got 8 minutes left to our stream. I mean, we could push it. We could go over. I'm just asking if you.
Let's just save it. Let's save it. Let's save it because there's only 4 viewers here, and it was a 2-hour mark.
Yeah.
And let's. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should. Yeah. So I think. Yeah, I think I'm sorry. I think I'm sorry. But we should probably end the stream. And you'll have a chance to
Yeah,
resubmit
get
it.
more judges on your track and more listeners.
Yeah,
Give the person
it
opinion.
was submitted pretty late today. So yeah, next time maybe submit during the week. I mean, you have it ready now, so you could submit it right
Oh,
away
I know
tomorrow
who
when
that
the
is.
next form is
Yeah.
is up. So it's I don't know how the name's pronounced. Beatsum or BTSEM.
Oh, that's Doge.
Oh right. Why didn't you just? Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna read the
Doge,
title. I'm gonna read the title because I think I'm gonna read the title. The title is SMA.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No,
Please.
that's the title for real though.
Play it, and we'll just go out on it, and we'll leave the feedback for no.
No,
Please.
I'm gonna put up the card because I want you guys to see it. I think people are messing with me today. Like look.
Well, the other one was actually a real language. We found out. So.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
think
That's
it was-
true. But this one, I don't think so. This one, I don't think so. But yeah, I think we should end it here, and Doge can submit again next week. It sucks that we had to do that, of course. But I think it's really the best because we're gonna have
we'll get
a
more
fresh set
judges
of
for you,
mind, and
but,
we're gonna give fresh new feedback. Yeah.
Right. Cool. I think that was good. 2 hours.
Yeah.
Keeps us in schedule, just in case we have something important to do. We'll go run off and do that, and see everybody back in the community. Thanks, Blay, for streaming as always. This is awesome to
course.
make it to MPA Feedback Stream 20 with the team. We've all been here. This is cool. So thanks, Retrograde, for coming by today. I know you had to take off early. Thanks, Radium and Blay, as always. Thanks, everyone in the chat, for coming and listening and sharing your feedback and hanging out. If you're checking this out on the replay, thanks. We noticed that these definitely get a lot more replays, which is cool. So they're getting more popular even on the replay. That's good news. And let's see. They're laughing at. I hope they're not laughing at me. Self-conscious now. Like, what did I say? Okay, Master Pack has been uploaded. I'm not going to do any other news. I really want to get this Halloween thing up. Halloween Master Pack, there's a lot of fun samples in there. You should be able to find plenty of samples to make a song from. Only use samples in the pack and try to keep them recognizable for the most part. Be creative. Do whatever. Think outside the box for sure. But we want to recognize the samples so we can at least say, oh, yeah, you followed the rules. But yeah, manipulate them, do whatever, make a fun track, use the samples. It's not a real competition. It's just a fun collab. So we will count it as a collab. We'll post them all as a collab. You're collaborating with everybody because everybody submitted samples in the pack. So MPA Spooky Collab. Look for the featured post in the community. It's called MPA Spooky Collab, and it's got a master pack link at the very top.
Yeah.
All right, tune back in next Friday for our next feedback stream. If you want to get on this feedback stream, go look for the featured post in the community, the submission form in there, and you'll post, and you can add your link and your comment, and your note or whatever, and we'll put it on next week's feedback stream. All right, there's a hangout tomorrow on the Discord. Hope to see y'all there. With that, I'm just gonna wrap it up. Bye.
Okay.
I
Bye.
know, roll the music. Roll the outro music.
We don't have outro music for
I
this.
know,
We
that's
could
it.
do that though.
I never know how to end these. I just thought, bye. That's what most people say at the end of their streams, right?
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, bye. Thanks, Blay and Radium. And then I just kind of
Yes.
Step
Okay. Bye.
bye.